Todos, and welcome back to my channel. Today is another very special video. It's very special because it is the first time I'm going to be dissecting and theorizing on an ARG. The ARG web series I'm looking at today is called Oliver01. It's a very small one, not very many viewers on it at all, but perhaps by me talking about it today, I can get just a couple more people to go ahead and give it a look. Now, just to give it, I guess, a little bit of a quick review, it gives me a lot of Stranger Things vibes, Local 58 vibes, little bit of Marble Hornets. I can kind of see how you would get some dad vibes from that as well, although that was not my first thought. Right before I jump into this video, I must warn you, the ARG is not completed yet. This is only what has been posted so far, and my hope is that by giving this ARG a little bit of attention, that maybe the creator of the ARG will decide when he has the time to go ahead and keep working on it and posting more of it so that we can solve the mystery that has been set up here. The way I'm going to structure this video is I'm going to briefly summarize each video in what I believe is their true chronological order, and basically lay out every observation I can make on the videos, and then once I am done basically putting out all of my observations and connections and such that I've made, I'm going to attempt to make a theory on what we have seen so far. And again, I reiterate, this is a very short little series here because it is not finished yet. And chances are, if the person who made this series ever decides to complete it, there is a pretty big chance, based off other ARGs I've observed of his, that it would end up being pretty lengthy actually. Not too much here, except I believe the monster who grabbed Mask teleported him to the future. So, on the iPad Air, we see here there are two sets of coordinates, one which leads to Cape Flattery, the other which is the current location that Mask is in, which is Seattle. So I can conclude that Mask is traveling to Cape Flattery, though whether his intentions are pure or not, I am unsure. On top of that, we see a sticky note with binary on it, which translates to "at the lighthouse." Now, I spent some time looking for this, what I can assume to be a Instagram account. However, I could not find any Instagram account by this name, nor could I find any Twitter or other social media account. And it doesn't help that a little bit after this video was posted, there was a movie called The Lighthouse, only adding to my confusion. So if there's anyone watching and they find the account this was leading to, that'd be quite helpful. However, it's very possible that this wasn't actually supposed to lead me to a social media account at all, considering that in Cape Flattery there is indeed a lighthouse. So it's very possible that the headquarters that Oliver01 is being the database for Oliver01 is in the lighthouse in Cape Flattery. After Mask absorbs the tablet, we see some camera shaking, which leads me to believe that the so-called viewer of the events that are happening is not very good at holding the camera still. Now, as to who it's meant to be watching, I'm not exactly sure. Could it be an Oliver? Is it supposed to represent the audience? I don't quite have enough information to draw a conclusion yet. Furthermore, we see a couple of monsters that I at first assumed were running after Mask, though by looking at the expressions on their faces, they don't even look scary so much as they themselves look absolutely terrified. So is it possible that they were mutated by something? We are yet to see.
Welcome to the new era of happiness. Meet the Open Language International Virtual Encoding Recorder, or Oliver for short. As the name suggests, Oliver is open to all languages and nations, and is capable of recording and monitoring the daily life of any household. Oliver soon will become an active member of the household, doing all cleanup, chores, and cooking. It is a digital assistant to make life easier. With our Northwestern Washington State database keeping things running smoothly, this new era will be of ease to every and all people.
Now, there's quite a bit of information in Flashback. Flashback. That's fun to say. Anyway, of course, I think it would be best for you to go ahead and pause and read it. But the thing that I'm observing here, which I find particularly important just in the newspaper itself that's on screen, is the date 1/31/1958, which just so happens to be the day the US launched its first successful satellite, Explorer-1. Explorer-1, Oliver-1. A coincidence? I think not. All the same, I think so. It's hard to tell. And of course, according to this Big Brother-esque ad here, we know that Oliver, which, come on, I kind of knew this from the start that Oliver was an acronym for something. I just didn't know it was an acronym for. But again, according to this ad, it's an acronym for
Open Language International Virtual Encoding Recorder.
Open Language International Virtual Encoding Ransomware.
Well, we finally reach our fifth and final video, present tense. Considering that Mask absorbed his iPad, which again I stated was one of the first generations, this present tense is somewhere between 2010 and 2013. That's not too I don't think the date here is too important, but I just thought it would be interesting to point out. Now, according to the audio here, which I reversed, we know for certain now that Oliver, though being advertised as a digital assistant, is actually a type of malware. Type of software that is specifically designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system. A Trojan is a program that cannot reproduce itself but masquerades as something the user wants and tricks them into activating, so it can do its damage and spread. Now, which computer system might this work in, you may ask? Well, look right here. I've come to believe that, despite at first looking like a TV, this may very well be the computer, and this may very well be the monitor. Therefore, Oliver is a Trojan virus in the form of perhaps an old floppy disk or old cartridge, and once it is in some type of computer, the virus spreads. I believe, and this is where the real theory comes in, via hypnosis. Now, this sounds a bit ridiculous, again, considering there's only 5 videos and we haven't seen hypnosis take place yet. Or have we? But the biggest thing that makes me conclude that it spreads via hypnosis is the description of the actual channel I'm watching, which says, "Bound consciousness is observance." Sounds so much like something straight out of 1984. But what is bound consciousness other than a consciousness that has been controlled through someone else's observance, aka hypnosis? In this video, I have just a couple more points to add that I wasn't sure where to add anywhere else, and that is, if you take all the titles from all the videos and fill it in what I believe is the missing letters and unscramble those letters that were missing, you get the words A, better. Now, considering, and I keep repeating this, but there's only 5 videos, unfortunately. So, as to whether it would have said a better, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what the message here would have been should the series have been continued, and it could very well still be continued. Again, if the creator of this ARG happens to find the time to continue it. But considering that the creator of this video has several channels he's keeping up with right now, and I'm sure he's got several other things in his life to keep up with too, I doubt there's much time for him to also work on this side project. However, if I just so happen to inspire him to keep working on it, I believe it would be pretty great if he would, because if there's one thing I don't like, it's to be kept hanging on a mystery I would want to solve. And though this channel is quite small and the viewers are few and far between, I believe that there's at least a couple other people that feel the same way. However, if he does not want to, I do not think that he should. Oh yeah, and there's just one more thought. Now, in the newspaper ad that we see where it talks about Oliver having been released, it says the date of 1958, but I already concluded that the present, as far as Mask lives in, is around 2010. So, not sure why the dates aren't matching up too well. Perhaps one of the only solutions is that they live in a Incredibles-like world where technology advanced a bit more quickly. So perhaps in 1958 or sometime around then, there would have been advanced enough technology to create Oliver and for Mask to have the iPad. Well, what am I saying? Of course, there was good enough technology to create Oliver. That's why they created it. The thing that is confusing me here is the iPad. Why does Mask have an iPad? A first generation. Never mind. Anyhow, that's all for this video. And I don't know if you need to hear it today, but I love you. I love you all. E Sarah.